Moving on to our next topic. We have, liebe Zuschauer, ich habe euch noch nicht gesagt, ich habe euch noch nicht von meinen Gästen erzählt. Wir haben Alain hier, er ist YouTuber und nicht nur YouTuber, er ist auch Bruder. Ja, das stimmt. Und er ist Sohn, er ist auch Fußballer und er ist Musiker. Dann haben wir hier Marla. Ich rede, wie gesagt, ich rede auf Englisch mit ihr, weil sie halt aus Amerika kommt. She has so many titles. She has so many achievements. I don't even know where I'll start and if I'll finish or if I'll get to point a finger on all of them. So, like you heard, she's 63, which I still cannot believe that you look so radiant and young, and there's so much energy in you, and it's just amazing. So you are, before you started doing your own thing with, like you said, gyrotonic and
Pilates.
I
was originally a dancer. Okay. And I danced professionally, actually, for about 30 years, actually. Okay. I danced until I was 50 years old. And I had my own dance company. I danced on Broadway in New York. I danced with the Albert Dance Theater. And then later on, as I started to teach dance and become more involved in helping performers perform themselves, I came to Vienna, Austria, to be a director of the Theater an der Wien in Vienna. That's part of the Vereinigten Bühnen Wien organization. And I was the director of the musical theater school, Tanzlehrerin Studio. Okay. And I was there for 3 years and worked with young German-speaking performers. It is one of the first and strongest schools, I believe. I don't know if any school has matched the work that I have done. Coming from the States and having the experience of being in theater and film and being a performer at a very high caliber, to work with young people who are very talented, German-speaking and German singing talent and dancers were quite extraordinary, young talent. And what I did is really expose them to experts in this field from the States, from England, German-speaking countries, but really a lot from America, because at the time we were very, very strong in musical theater. And today, I am here today in Germany because I've come to see some of my former students who have achieved that goal. And I am so proud to see some of them at a very high level here in Germany, performing as singers or performers in musical theater, etc.
That is amazing. That's really amazing. From what I've heard from you, you've kept in touch with your roots, and you've also, you know your culture in and out. Yes. Zu dir, Anna, würdest du sagen, dass du dich mit deiner anderen Kultur beschäftigst, auch die von der Seite von deinem Vater, oder bist du jetzt, du bist ja in Deutschland geboren und aufgewachsen und du bist jetzt einfach deutsch?
Da ich ja hier geboren bin, weiß ich natürlich halt mehr über meine deutsche Herkunft oder die ganzen Traditionen, aber dennoch sind mir die Traditionen aus Gabun jetzt nicht unbekannt. Dennoch habe ich das Gefühl, ich weiß nicht genug, also ich würde noch liebend gern viel mehr wissen. Und ich hatte noch nicht die Gelegenheit gehabt, nach Gabun reisen zu können, was aber für mich selber noch ein Ziel ist, was ich noch erreichen möchte. Also ich möchte auf jeden Fall noch mal runter nach Gabun und dort halt auch mal meine Tradition wirklich live kennenlernen.
Hier mit mir habe ich eine sehr wunderschöne Frau mit dem Namen Marla Bingham, und sie wird uns jetzt erzählen, was genau sie macht. Das wird aber auf Englisch sein, denn sie kommt aus Amerika, wie schon gesagt. Marla, like I said before, I don't even know where to start with your achievements and what you've done with your life. You've done so much and you've impacted the lives of so many people. It's amazing. Really, it's amazing. So I will start talking about your work first as a choreographer, a dancer. I saw that you were the former principal dancer at the Alvin Alley Theater?
Alvin Alley Dance Theater, yes.
Alvin Alley Dance Theater.
Yes.
What did you do there?
I was one of the principal dancers in the company for a few years, and that was my first big, I would say my first really big break, even though actually I had performed as an apprentice in a classical ballet company with the Pennsylvania Ballet before. But this was really, really special because it enabled me to really get in touch with my Black roots, with the work that Alvin Alley has presented, and an inspiration of really understanding where we come from, and to bring that to the world. It allowed me to start traveling extensively, and we had such an amazing response from our audiences all over the world. It also inspired me to start choreographing myself, and I ended up having my own dance company later on, and really combining my African roots with my Native American roots and my white American roots as well, because it is who I am, that I am not just one part of my culture, just not one side, but I embrace all of my cultures as one. And I have also feeling comfortable with that when I came to Vienna to work with young, talented people. It didn't block my view of people, but I did have the experiences, as you said, regarding prejudice. It was very difficult for me to work in Vienna and in this environment, meaning, one, I was not only a woman of color, but I was a woman. I was very young at the time. I was a director and had a very strong title of a musical theater school director. I was only 34 years old at the time. I was running a school where I selected young talent to come into this school to work for a 2 to 3 year period. And when they finished, they went out and performed and really accomplished a lot. So I'm very, very pleased with that, but it was very difficult. The prejudice that I experienced during that time was quite a challenge. I had not experienced it as much in America as I did there. But I believe all experiences are what makes us richer in our lives. And for me, each one takes a different step that makes me stronger in the next thing or the next goal that I make. And after I returned to America, I worked with manager Dick Scott. Dick Scott Entertainment represented the New Kids on the Block, which you're probably too young to remember who they are. But people like Donnie Wahlberg, and they now expanded into the acting field in Hollywood, as well as Mark Wahlberg, very, very famous. But we had the opportunity I choreographed and worked with people like James Ingram, who worked a lot with Quincy Jones. I recently worked on a project just this past October, a tribute to Lewis Johnson, who choreographed and directed the musical The Wiz, the film version that Michael Jackson and Diana Ross were in. And we did a tribute to him in October, and that was really quite an experience as well. I still perform as an actress in the States, in film, as well as I am also in a web series. I am currently doing that.
You have so many hats.
I have so many hats. I don't even believe that I do what I do. But yes, I'm a lead in a web series that is called Private Detectives,
I actually know this show.
No, that's
I've
another.
heard of it.
No, this is one. This is a different one. This has not been released yet.
Ah, okay.
Yes, no, this is a different one.
I can't wait for the release.
And then I'm also in a wonderful film that I'm very excited about. It's a science fiction called Origin, Beyond the Impact. And this is a science fiction. And the director, a young black director, Jeff Patton, I find that he is like the new Steven Spielberg. I think he's fabulous. And this is in San Diego, where I have my Pilates and gyrotonic studio. I have my own business now, but my business is doing very, very well, that it allows me to do my artistic side, because the Pilates work is my studio where I focus on clients who need to be lifted and built up to help them, whether they have an injury or they just want to look really good. Young people to people who are as old as 95 years old.
That's amazing.
Are my clients. And I have young dancers as well as people who are rugby players, football players, tennis players, and people who are elderly who've had a hip replacement, knee replacement, whatever you've had replaced. I can slowly help put you back together again. After you've done your physical therapy, we take you to the next level.
This is amazing. You have so many hats. How do you work and at the same time still have a family and maintain it?
Well, having my son, I mean, I have a son that is 25 years old now.
Okay.
And he actually works with me, which was not expected. It was something that he went to college for a few years, and he said, you know, there's nothing there for me. I want to teach Pilates. And I'm going, really? And I am blessed that he has followed into my footsteps without me pushing. And he is now, actually, I'm here in Germany, he is substituting for me. And I am very comfortable leaving my studio in his hands. He's a wonderful Pilates
with
trainer.
such a mother, he has big shoes to fill out. So is this something that you've always wanted to do, or did you get to a point where you said, this is what I want to do now? Did you always have a passion for it?
You know, I follow where I feel passionate in the moment. Things in my life, I go into crossroads and they fall into place, and it's as though I have a sign and I go, you know what, this looks really good. And I feel really strongly about it. Just like as a dancer, I love dance. I love dance. And I said, I want to be a dancer. I'm going to be a dancer. No matter what obstacles are in front of me, I never complain about the obstacles. I think that is the key. No matter how life is very difficult for people, sometimes people go, oh, you know, that's not going to work. You know, this is not working, that's not working. You know, things get in your way. Life is always having things in your way. So you keep working and you keep going along your path. And as I got older, my body wasn't really performing as well. And I found, you know what? I used to do Pilates when I was younger. I need to try that again to see how it affects me. And I was dancing in a show, which was my own company, at the age of 48 in ballet, Point.
Oh.
And I had not performed in Point for 10 years. And I had to substitute. I had to go in because one of the dancers could not do the show. And at the time, my co-director said, you have to do it. And I said, oh, God. He says, well, you're the only one that knows your choreography and can do it the way you want it to be done. And I had to think about it. And again, okay, an obstacle. All right, well, let me find a way of doing this. And so I went and trained in Pilates to help my dance. And it took me to a level that I could not believe. And after that work that I did in my performance, I said, I got to be doing this all the time. And this is the next level in which I need to go in my work. So I did that. So it just goes like that. And then when my son was old enough, and I did not have to worry about him anymore, I said, well, I can go back into my artistic. I'm not going to go back into dance, but maybe I'll go back into acting. So for the last 4 years, I went back into acting. And now I've been doing acting. I have some films that I really started to work on, and I love it. You know, you always follow your passion. You know, and it's not about money. It's about what you feel in here. It's very, very important. That keeps you young.